Today, we're going to build a beautiful minimalistic gaming PC, something that's powerful but not too expensive and easy to build if this is your first time. For the case, I'll be using the Fractal Design North in black. It has a stunning wooden walnut front panel that matches my whole aesthetic and vibe of my current gaming setup. And as I've gotten older, I want my setups to be more simple and sophisticated, with less RGB. So I didn't want to spend too much on this gaming PC, and considering the budget we've got, the gameplay and benchmark performance that we'll show at the end of this video will absolutely blow your mind. It's kind of insane. For the CPU, I've gone for an AMD Ryzen 5 7600X. This is a 6-core CPU that's a part of the AM5 chipset, so its latest generation, which gives us awesome compatibility for future upgrades. For the RAM, I've gone for these Crucial Stick 32GB of RAM available here. My whole goal of this PC is to make it not look like a gaming computer. So inside, it's absolutely stacked out and can play games beyond belief, but aesthetically, it fits into a nice environment, so it doesn't look like you're a mega nerd. For the motherboard, I am using an MSI B850, slightly newer generation compared to B650 that's sort of being phased out right now. It's got NVMe Gen 5 support and also Wi-Fi support, which is nice and convenient. And this came in at around £160, which I think sits nicely in the middle. By the way, all of the products and components are linked in the description that we will be featuring in today's video, along with some discount codes from some of the manufacturers. For the GPU, I went for the MSI 5070. Another great option on the budget side would have been a 4070 Super. The past generation has some exceptional performance, and it's obviously less reliant on those AI tensor cores, which some people don't really like. But for me, I think the 5070 is a very good GPU for the price point. However, this card is capable of 4K gaming. But of course, if you're looking at 1440p, this is going to knock the games out of the park for you. So to have some fun while testing this new PC, I've got probably one of the coolest products I've ever had in the studio. Asus sent out their new 720Hz OLED gaming monitor. This is literally the fastest gaming monitor in the world right now. Just look at how cool the design of this thing is. It's got a beautiful white and silver design with a transparent back to showcase some of the lights. And at 1440p, it does 540 Hz. I've never had a monitor this quick ever. Jumping into the performance tests, first taking a look at the brand new Arc Raiders, I can't believe how well optimized this game is. Without NVIDIA DLSS enabled on epic graphic settings, this was running at a flawless 140 to 150 FPS. If we use the 4x frame gen multiplier, this game could go upwards of 330 FPS. I don't think I've ever played a game that high before with such incredible graphic settings to complement that. Jumping into a game of Fortnite, I was able to get around 120 to 140 FPS with a little bit of fluctuation, running on epic graphic settings, maxed out everything using NVIDIA DLSS frame generation in performance mode. It was okay, but I felt like I wanted it to be a little bit higher, so I did drop everything down to medium, still using frame generation, NVIDIA Reflex plus boost to help with that input lag, and this got us up to more like 160 to 180, and the game still looked really good. Now for Cyberpunk 2077, I wanted to understand the raw performance of the RTX 5070 without the inflated numbers from DLSS 4. On ray traced overdrive mode at 1440p, you could only run the game at 23 FPS. But things do get slightly better, dropping this down to ray traced medium without any DLSS 4 assistance or super resolution. You could get 60 FPS, which actually wasn't too bad. However, if you do enable DLSS 4 frame generation and not even leveraging super resolution, which is where it will render at a lower resolution and upscale it to also boost the FPS, you could actually run this at ray traced overdrive mode on a 4x multiplier at around 180 FPS, sometimes a little bit lower or a little bit higher, just depending on the complexity of the environment and how many NPCs were currently loaded in. Now let's talk about the big one, Battlefield 6, the only game that you probably care about right now. Maxing out all the graphics to overkill at 1440p with no DLSS frame generation, this game could run at around 80 FPS. Sometimes it dipped to about 60 FPS if there was a lot of stuff going on, but obviously this was pushing our cards to its absolute limit. If we enabled DLSS frame generation at a 4x multiplier, this then exceeded over 200 frames per second with a render latency of around 50 milliseconds. Now if we decrease some graphic settings and set this to around medium to high, this This render latency decreased quite a lot, and we were hitting around 280 to 300 FPS in Battlefield 6, which is mightily impressive. So this right here is the final setup, and I've added a few extra additions just to complete the entire aesthetic. I'm using the Astro A50Xs, which are multi-platform headphones. They've got their own dock. I can click a button on the headset and it'll switch between my PS5 and also the PC, and I can even connect it to an Xbox if I wanted to. I did also add a PS5 Slim to this setup. It's nice and small, it's not as big as the PS5 Pro, and it's perfect for just playing casual games like FIFA. For my mouse and keyboard, I'm trying out currently the new Logitech 2C. This is the new version of the Superlight that's a little bit smaller and lighter, which is nice for different types of grip styles, but also if you're a younger gamer, like if you're a teenager, got slightly smaller hands, makes it just a little bit more comfortable. To complement this, my keyboard is the Aula F75 Max in the gradient gray. This looks incredible. It matches this room beautiful with the gray walls that we've got. Very minimalistic, and also it looks like there's no symbols on the keycaps, but actually they're all located on the front side, so you can see them when you're typing, but when you tilt it like that, it looks invisible. In fact, if you're interested in any of these peripherals on Logitech's official website, using code BEMRO at checkout, you can save up to 10% off their entire website. That includes the Astro headsets, mice, keyboards, steering wheels, anything that you want to pick up from those guys. And for the Aula F75s and some of their mice, if you use the link in the description over on my official website, you can get up to 40% off all the products, once again, using BEMRO at checkout. My Aula F75 Max are spec'd with Reaper switches, which sound absolutely incredible. They're really creamy when you type, and you get what feels like a $400 keyboard for literally around $50, $60, depending on which spec you go for. For my mouse pad, I picked up this nice and simple design just off of Amazon. It was around $15. I think it looks quite cool and complements the white on the monitor and then also the gray and black on my mouse and keyboards.